When they were in the chambers, the emperor called Carmenisa and said to her, "Tell me, my daughter, these things Player de mi vida said, where do they come from?" "I'm sure I don't know, my lord," said the princess. "I never spoke of such a thing to her, but this mad woman is impertinent, and she says anything that comes to her head." "She's no mad woman," said the emperor. "In fact, she's the most sensible maiden in my court. She's a good girl, and she always gives good advice. Have you noticed that when you've come to the council chambers, that when you make her talk, she is always very discreet? Would you like to have our captain for your husband?" The princess blushed shamefully, and could not utter a word. After a moment, when she had recovered, she said, "My lord, when your captain has finished conquering the Moors, then I will do whatever your majesty commands." Trnt went to the duchess's chamber, and sent for Player de Movida. When she was there, he said, "Oh, gentle lady, I don't know what help you can give me. My soul is in discord with my body, and unless you can cure my illness, I don't care whether I live or die." "I'll do it tonight," said Player de Movida, "if you do as I say." "Command me, maiden," said Trant, "and may God increase your honor. The things you said when the emperor was here, about the princess and me, who told you to say them?" "You and my lady, and the emperor too. You're all thinking the same thing," said Player de Movida. "When he asked me, I gave him even better reasons why you're worthy of having the princess as a wife. To what better man could she be given to than you? And he agrees with everything I say. I tell you why, in strict confidence. He's in love with me, and he would pull up my chemise if I let him. He's sworn to me on the Bible that if the empress was dying, he would take me as a wife in a minute. And he's told me, as a sign of our pact, 'Let's kiss. This kiss will be very little, but it's better to have something than nothing.' And I answered him, 'Now that you are old, you're a lecher. When you were young, were you virtuous? Only a few hours ago he gave me this string of fat pearls. Now he's with his daughter, asking her if she wants you for a husband. Do you know why I said that to him? Because if you go to her chamber at night, and it's your bad fortune to cause a commotion, and they try to charge me with something, I'll have an alibi. I'll say, "My lord, I already told your majesty, the princess ordered me to let him in,' and that way no one will be able to say anything, so that you can see my good will and how much I want to help and honor your grace. When the emperor is dining, come to me. I promise to put you in my lady's bed, and in the refreshing night you'll see how solace comes to those who are in love." While they were talking, the emperor, knowing that Trant was in the duchess's chamber, sent for him and interrupted their conversation. When Trant held council with the emperor, they spoke at length about war and what things would be needed, and at the time they were all dressed for readiness for battle. When the dark shadows of night had fallen, Trant came to the duchess's chamber, and while the emperor was with the ladies, Player de Movida went into the chamber very happily, took Trant by the hand, and led him away. He was dressed in a jacket of red satin, with a cloak over his shoulder and a sword in his hand. Player de Movida put him in the chamber. A large box was there, with a hole she had made so he could breathe. The bath had been prepared, and it stood in front of the box. After the ladies had eaten, they danced with the gallant knights. When they saw that Trant was not there, they stopped dancing, and the emperor retired to his chamber while the ladies departed, and left the princess alone with her ladies-in-waiting in her chambers where Trant was. Player de Movida opened the box under the pretext of taking out a sheet of delicate linen for the bath, and she left it slightly open, putting clothing on top so that none of the other women would see him. The princess began to take off her clothes, and Player de Movida prepared her seat, which had been placed directly in front so that Trant could see her clearly. When she was completely naked, Player de Movida brought a lighted candle to give pleasure to Trant, and look at all of her body and everything that was in view. She said, "In faith, my lady, if Trant were here and could touch you with his hands the way I am, I believe he would prefer that to being made the ruler of the kingdom of France." "Don't believe it," said the princess. "He would rather be king than touch me the way you are." "Oh, my lord Trant, where are you now? Why aren't you standing here near by so that you can see and touch the things that you love most in this world and in the world beyond? Look, my lord Trant, here are the locks of my princess. I kiss them in your name, for you are the best of all knights in the world. Here are her eyes and her mouth. I kiss them for you. Here are her crystalline breasts. I hold one in each hand and kiss them for you. See how small and firm, how white and smooth they are. Look, Trnt, here is her belly, her thighs, with her secret place. Oh, wretched me! If I were a man I would want to spend my last days here. Oh, Trnt, where are you now? Why don't you come to me when I call to you so tenderly? Only the hands of Trnt are worthy to touch where I am touching, and no one else, because this is a morsel that there is no one who would not like to choke on. Trnt was watching all this, and could not have been more pleased by the fine wit of Plernomevia's comments, and he felt sorely tempted to come out of the box. When they had been there some time, joking, the princess stepped into the bath and told Plernomevida to remove her clothes and join her. I will, under one condition. What's that? Asked the princess. Plernomevida answered, that you consent to have Trnt in your bed for 1 hour while you're in it. Hush! You're mad, said the princess. If you please, my lady, tell me what you would say if Trnt came here one night without any of us knowing it. What else could I tell him, said the princess, but beg him to leave. If he wouldn't go, I would keep quiet rather than be defamed. In faith, my lady, said Plernomevida, that's what I would do too. While they were saying these things, Widow Repose came in, and the princess begged her to join her in the bath. The widow removed all her clothing except her red stockings, and a linen hat on her head, and although she was very pretty and well endowed, the red stockings and the hat on her head made her so ugly that she looked like a devil. And it is true that any lady or maiden you see in that sort of attire will look very ugly to you, no matter how genteel she may be.